What's going on, Raider Nation? So, I know it's been a while since I've talked about the Raiders. I know this draft video is a little later than it normally would have been, but here's the thing. When you're locked out and when there's a couple other teams to pay attention to in the playoffs, you kind of get a little sidetracked and forgotten with the Raiders because of the whole lockout thing. And, even paying attention to the prospects and the combine, it's just I've almost kind of boycotted that only because of the lockout. And it's, the NFL's being a douche to its fans. I mean, I might as well try to be a douche to the NFL at the same time. I'm not going to pay anything out of my wallet towards the NFL as of right now since the lockout's happening. But going on to the draft itself, because the draft is still going to happen no matter what, it would be very interesting if the lockout does continue beyond the draft and even in the next year, because all the guys that are drafted cannot be signed with their team, and even the undrafted guys cannot be signed as well. They're going to have to look for jobs in the CFL, the UFL, and maybe the Arena Football League, even though the Arena Football League's going on as we speak. So it'll be interesting what happens there. And if the lockout continues, Al Davis looks like a genius for trading that first-round pick to the New England Patriots for Richard Seymour, because that first round, that 17th pick overall, a lot of Patriots fans, a lot of NFL fans thought we gave them a top 5 pick, top 10 pick. But you know what? The Raiders proved them wrong, and they have the 17th pick overall. But that pick could be a little, I guess, bangled up because of all the lockout stuff and negotiations. Now going on to the Raiders themselves and what they need, the offensive line. I think that's the biggest position of need. Lot of things need to be fixed, whether it's center. I mean, I'm not a big fan of Samson Satellite. The guard play. We do have some guys we drafted last year, but I think we need to promote more competition. Some of these guys like Cooper Carlisle and Langston Walker just past their prime. Just kind of tired about seeing them again. So the offensive line will be the biggest need. Who do I want, you might ask? Well, I want Marcus Cannon out of TCU. This is the guy that I think is the best offensive lineman for the Raiders. Definitely has the work ethic, and has the athleticism. With the second round pick in the 48th overall is what we have right now. And it might worry me that we trade up. I don't even know. We can't trade players right now, so when it comes to trading, do we just trade picks? I don't know how the scheme works, but it'll be interesting what happens if they do trade up and gamble. Say for a guy like Mike Pouncey. I know that's been talks because I think the Raiders do need a center, and Pouncey I think can play guard and center as well, like his brother. But let's just see. I think the center guard position, maybe the tackle, one of those guys can be converted to either position, and the offensive line would be the biggest piece of need. So Marcus Cannon would be what I'd prefer. Al Davis will always draft the guy who's physically in shape, the guy who has the great measurements, the strength, the speed, the height, size, whatever intangibles you want to call it. He wants the guy who's in shape. Why? Because you can't coach speed. You cannot coach strength. I mean, the guys are as strong as they possibly could be, pretty much, since they've been working out. He wants the guy who's already in shape right now. And some of these guys, the guy specifically, Jimmy Smith out of Colorado, the cornerback, it would be very tempting if he falls to the Raiders. I know he's first-round talent, and people said he has character issues, and he might fall to the second round. If he falls to a certain point, the Raiders could trade up for that in maybe the second round, try to trade up a few spots just to get Jimmy Smith. And that means it could be the farewell of Nnamdi Asomugha. I think Jimmy Smith has some great intangibles and has that mold of a Raider that Al Davis would want. So Jimmy Smith would be the other guy I think would be considered in the second round with our first pick. But the offensive line, I'm not really too concerned with a lot of names. This draft class does not have a very good offensive line class, if you want to call it that. So we could land Stefen Wisniewski as well in the second round. So as long as we draft an offensive lineman, I'm actually pretty fine with what we get. In the later rounds and late rounds after, I think we can draft a project quarterback. I'm not expecting Colin Kaepernick to be taken because he'll probably be taken by another team in the second or third round. But in the third or fourth round, I think we could get Ricky Stanzi. That would be definitely something really tempting. I think he's underrated. He had a very productive senior year, and I think he would provide some of that work ethic. But unfortunately, he doesn't have the arm that Al Davis would want. Third round, not really sure all the way. I would rather just stock up on offensive linemen. I expect Al Davis to stock up on defensive backs in the late rounds, whether it's a safety, whether it's a corner. He wants to promote competition, and it's a big insurance for the Nnamdi Asomugha case. We just have to kind of reload and get other corners to take that position because we'll have a bunch of competition, at least for that last spot, and he'll probably stock it up in the later rounds. So expect at least 2 defensive backs and 2 offensive linemen to be taken. I think we'll probably stock up on another linebacker. I don't know who, but the linebacker position will probably be taken as well. And not really much else to say. You'll always draft a fast player, and I know there's a lot in there. Check the description below. I know there's a lot of speedsters who were in this combine this past year, so in the description I'll have a bunch of names that were athletes according to the combine or their pro day. I just couldn't follow a whole lot of the prospects this year because of the way the NFL has been run the last month or so with lockout. So let me know what you guys think, who you guys like. I know, sorry if I'm not as detailed as I would have been, but that's what happens when you're locked out. But I expect also probably a wide receiver to be taken as well. He'll probably with that seventh round pick, or the compensatory pick at the end, they'll probably just take the fastest wide receiver available or the fastest defensive back available because he loves those 2 positions a lot. So let me know what you guys think, Raider Nation. Who do you like? Who do you not like? I just don't want to see a quarterback taken with that second round pick. I don't have a whole lot of expectations with this draft because of what's been happening, and it's just really sad to see this, the league right now in disarray as I'm making this video. I know a deal could get done this summer and mediation should be back again, but the whole decertification of the Players Association, it's just been horrible. So we'll see you guys later. The video will come after the draft is completely over. I shouldn't be doing what I did last year with a early reaction. So wait till the draft is completely over, and I'll do some research on the guys we drafted. But once again, though, check the description on some names that I'll put out, and who I want, who maybe I don't want. So we'll see you guys later, and as always, go Raiders.